Most people spend their entire lives believing that money problems can be solved by earning more money. It sounds reasonable. If someone is struggling financially, the obvious answer appears to be a larger paycheck, and for a short period of time that may help. But after watching businesses, investors, and markets for decades, I have learned that income alone rarely determines who becomes wealthy. If income were the answer, every highly paid professional would retire rich, every celebrity would remain rich, every athlete who signed a massive contract would stay wealthy forever. Yet history tells a very different story. Some people earn millions and lose everything. Others earn ordinary salaries and quietly build fortunes. The difference lies in what happens after the money arrives. Money has a way of exposing habits. So it magnifies strengths and weaknesses. A person who lacks financial discipline with a small income often struggles with a large income as well. More money does not automatically create better decisions. In many cases, it simply creates larger mistakes. That is why financial success is often less about income and more about behavior. The wealthy understand that every dollar can be assigned a job. Some dollars are spent, some dollars are saved, some dollars are invested. The question is whether those dollars are working toward your future or disappearing into your lifestyle. One of the greatest misconceptions about wealth is the belief that rich people possess secret information unavailable to everyone else. Most of the time, they do not. The principles of wealth are surprisingly simple. Spend less than you earn. Invest, avoid unnecessary debt. Be patient. Think long term. Continue learning. The difficulty is not understanding these principles. The difficulty is following them year after year while the world encourages the exact opposite behavior. Every day people are surrounded by messages telling them to consume. Buy now. Upgrade now. Finance now. Reward yourself now. The entire system is designed to encourage immediate gratification. Very few voices encourage delayed gratification because delayed gratification is not profitable for marketers. Yet delayed gratification remains one of the most powerful wealth building tools ever discovered. The ability to sacrifice something small today for something larger tomorrow is often what separates financial freedom from financial struggle. I have often said that investing is simple but not easy. Simple and easy are not the same thing. Eating healthy is simple. Exercising regularly is simple. Saving money is simple. Yet millions of people struggle with these activities because human emotions constantly interfere. We want comfort, we want certainty, we want rewards today. Wealth often requires the opposite mindset. It requires uncertainty, it requires patience, it requires the willingness to appear different from the crowd. The crowd is usually focused on the present. Wealthy thinkers are often focused on the future. When they spend money, they consider what that money could become. When they invest, they consider where that investment may be years from now. They understand that every financial decision creates a chain reaction. Small decisions repeated over decades become enormous outcomes. Imagine planting a tree. The first year, very little seems to happen. The second year, growth appears slow. The third year, progress remains modest. Many people would become discouraged and stop watering the tree. But someone who understands nature knows that growth takes time. Investing works the same way. Compounding rewards patience. The greatest gains often arrive after years of consistency. Unfortunately, many people quit before the results become visible. This is one reason the middle class often struggles to build substantial wealth. They underestimate the amount of time required. They expect dramatic progress in a short period. When results arrive slowly, they become frustrated. They switch strategies, they chase trends, they search for shortcuts. They move from one opportunity to another. Wealth is often destroyed not by bad opportunities, but by constant distraction. Distraction is expensive. Every year, new trends appear. New predictions emerge. New promises capture attention. Someone always claims to have discovered an easier path to riches. Human nature loves these stories because they offer hope without sacrifice. But lasting wealth rarely comes from excitement. It usually comes from discipline, boring discipline, consistent discipline, the kind of discipline that receives little attention because it lacks drama. The financial media often focuses on extraordinary events, market crashes, market rallies, billion-dollar deals, overnight successes. But real wealth is usually built quietly. It grows in the background while nobody's paying attention. It grows through habits. It grows through patience. It grows through repetition. Another challenge facing the middle class is the misunderstanding of debt. Debt itself is not always the enemy. The problem is how debt is used. Productive debt can help build assets. Destructive debt finances consumption. Unfortunately, many people use debt to purchase things that lose value. They borrow money to buy items that provide temporary satisfaction but create long-term obligations. Every payment reduces future flexibility. Every obligation limits future choices. Financial freedom is ultimately about choices. The more obligations you have, the fewer choices you possess. The fewer obligations you have, the more freedom you enjoy. Wealth creates options. It creates the ability to make decisions based on opportunity rather than necessity. This is why true wealth is often invisible. It is not merely what someone owns. It is the freedom those assets provide. I have met people who appeared wealthy but were trapped by debt and expenses. I have also met people who appeared ordinary but possessed extraordinary financial freedom. Appearances can be misleading. Society celebrates visible success. The market rewards actual success. These are not always the same thing. Many people spend years trying to look rich. Wealthy people spend years trying to become rich. One approach focuses on image, the other focuses on ownership. Eventually, the difference becomes impossible to ignore. The middle class is often encouraged to measure success through possessions, bigger homes, newer vehicles, more expensive lifestyles, yet possessions require maintenance, they require insurance, they require repairs, they require time and attention. Assets, on the other hand, can generate income, they can appreciate in value, they can work on your behalf. The wealthy tend to ask a different question before making purchases. Instead of asking what something costs, they ask what it produces. Does it generate income? Does it appreciate over time? Does it create opportunities? Does it improve productivity? These questions shift attention away from consumption and toward ownership. Ownership is one of the most powerful concepts in finance. Ownership allows people to benefit from growth. Ownership allows people to participate in success beyond their personal labor. Ownership creates leverage, and leverage changes everything. Without leverage, wealth is limited by your time. With leverage, growth can continue even when you are sleeping. Businesses operate, investments compound, assets appreciate, income arrives without requiring direct labor for every dollar earned. This does not mean building wealth is easy. It requires sacrifice, it requires discipline, it requires patience. But the rewards are significant because the process fundamentally changes the relationship between time and money. Most people believe they need extraordinary intelligence to become wealthy. In reality, emotional control is often more important. Markets reward emotional creatures. Unfortunately, human beings are emotional creatures. Fear and greed influence decisions. Excitement leads to over-choices. The ability to remain calm during uncertainty becomes a competitive advantage. When markets decline, many people see danger. Experienced investors often see opportunity. When prices rise rapidly, many people become cautious. Success frequently requires doing the opposite of what emotions encourage. That is difficult because emotions feel convincing in the moment. The future belongs to those who can think independently. Independent thinking allows people to ignore temporary noise and focus on long-term reality. It allows them to remain patient while others become impatient. It allows them to continue investing while others quit. Over time, these differences compound just as money compounds. And perhaps that is the most important lesson of all. Wealth is not usually created by one decision. It is created by thousands of decisions, small decisions, daily decisions. Decisions that appear insignificant in isolation but become life-changing when repeated consistently for years. Every dollar saved matters. Every habit matters. Every habit matters. Every lesson matters. The future is built one decision at a time. Most people search for a breakthrough when what they really need is consistency. They search for a secret when what they really need is discipline. They search for speed when what they really need is patience. The middle class never gets rich because society teaches them how to earn, but rarely think differently how to think. The wealthy think differently about time. They think differently about ownership. They think differently about risk. They think differently about patience. And those differences, repeated year after year, eventually create entirely different financial outcomes. The good news is that these principles are available to anyone willing to learn them. Wealth is not reserved for a select few, though. The habits that create wealth can be learned. The mindset can be developed. The discipline can be practiced. And once you begin seeing money through that lens, you realize that financial freedom is not built through luck. It is built through choices. One choice at a time, one day at a time, 1 year at a time, until eventually what once seemed impossible becomes reality. There is another reason the middle class struggles to become wealthy, and it is a reason few people ever discuss openly. Most people spend their entire lives trading certainty for opportunity. They choose the path that feels safest in the moment, even when that path quietly increases over the long term. They seek security in salaries, stability in routines, and comfort and familiarity. There is nothing wrong with any of those things. In fact, they can provide a strong foundation. The problem begins when comfort becomes permanent, because comfort has a hidden cost. It discourages growth, it discourages learning, it discourages adaptation. And in a world that changes constantly, refusing to adapt can be one of the most dangerous financial decisions a person can make. I have watched entire industries disappear. Companies that once seemed unstoppable vanished. Technologies that dominated markets became irrelevant. Jobs that were considered secure disappeared within a few years. Yet many people continue believing that the future will look exactly like the present. They assume that the skills they have today will always be valuable. They assume their income will continue indefinitely. They assume stability is permanent. History suggests otherwise. The world rewards those who prepare for change. Wealthy people understand this. They view learning as a lifelong investment. They never stop improving their knowledge because they understand that knowledge compounds just like money. Every book you read changes the way you think. Every lesson you learn improves future decisions. Every skill you develop increases your value. The remarkable thing about knowledge is that nobody can take it away from you. Markets may decline, businesses may fail, economies may struggle, but the ability to think clearly and make better decisions remains one of the most valuable assets anyone can possess. Many people believe investing is primarily about numbers. They focus on percentages, charts, and market movements. Those things matter, but investing is often more about psychology than mathematics. The greatest challenge is rarely finding opportunities. The greatest challenge is managing yourself. Fear convinces people to avoid opportunities. Greed convinces people to take unnecessary risks. Ego convinces people they are smarter than the market. Impatience convinces people to abandon good strategies too early. The market is a fascinating place because it constantly tests emotional discipline. During periods of optimism, people become convinced that prices can only go higher. During periods of pessimism, they become convinced that prices can only go lower. In both situations, emotions distort reality. Successful investors learn to separate feelings from facts. They understand that emotions are temporary, but decisions can have long-term consequences. One of the most valuable lessons I ever learned was the importance of thinking independently. The crowd is often wrong at important moments. When everyone agrees on something, it is usually worth questioning. Independent thinking does not mean ignoring other people. It means being willing to form your own conclusions based on evidence rather than emotion. Financial success frequently requires the courage to be uncomfortable. Sometimes it means buying when others are fearful. Sometimes it means waiting when others are rushing. Sometimes it means saying no when everyone else says yes. Patience remains one of the rarest qualities in modern society. Technology has conditioned people to expect instant results. Information arrives instantly. Entertainment arrives instantly. Communication happens instantly. But wealth still follows the old rules. It grows slowly. It rewards consistency. It rewards discipline. And it rewards those who can remain committed to a plan long after the initial excitement disappears. Imagine planting seeds in a garden. Every day you water them. Every day you care for them. Yet for weeks you may see very little progress. An impatient person may conclude that nothing is happening. A patient person understands that growth often occurs beneath the surface before it becomes visible. Wealth works the same way. Many years of effort may appear insignificant until compounding begins accelerating results. Then suddenly what looked slow becomes extraordinary. This is why wealthy people often appear lucky. Outsiders see the result, but not the process. They see the successful business, but not the years of uncertainty. They see the investment gains, but not the decades of patience. They see the financial freedom, but not the sacrifices that made it possible. Luck certainly plays a role in life, but preparations determines whether opportunities can be recognized and used effectively. Another trap that keeps many people in the middle class is comparison. Comparison is one of the fastest ways to destroy financial progress. Someone will always have a larger house. Someone will always drive a more expensive car. Someone will always appear more successful. Chasing other people's lifestyles creates a never-ending cycle of dissatisfaction. Wealthy people understand that financial decisions should be based on personal goals, not public approval. The desire to impress others is expensive. Many people spend money they have not earned to buy things they do not need in order to impress people they do not know. The tragedy is that the approval rarely lasts. A new purchase creates excitement for a short period of time before becoming normal. Then another purchase is required to recreate the feeling. This cycle can continue indefinitely. Real wealth creates something much more valuable than excitement. It creates peace of mind. It creates flexibility. It creates the ability to make decisions without constant financial pressure. Peace of mind is difficult to measure, but it may be one of the greatest benefits money can provide. Knowing that you have options changes the way you experience life. It reduces stress. It increases confidence. It allows you to focus on opportunities rather than emergencies. The middle class often focuses on earning enough to maintain a lifestyle. Wealthy people focus on building systems that create independence. The distinction is important. A lifestyle requires constant support. Financial independence creates support for itself. Businesses, investments, and productive assets continue generating value long after the initial effort has been a concept. This is why ownership remains such a powerful concept. Ownership allows people to participate in growth beyond their own labor. When you own productive assets, your financial future is no longer entirely dependent on your time. Assets begin contributing to your success. Over years and decades, this difference becomes extraordinary. Many people spend their entire lives working for money. Wealthy people gradually transition toward a world where money works for them. That transition rarely happens overnight. It happens through consistent decisions. Small investments become larger investments. Small habits become larger opportunities. Small habits become powerful advantages. The beautiful thing about wealth building is that nobody needs to be perfect. Mistakes are inevitable. Every investor makes mistakes. Every entrepreneur makes mistakes. Every successful person experiences setbacks. What matters is the ability to learn, adapt, and continue moving forward. Perfection is not required. Persistence is. In the end, the path to wealth is often far less complicated than people imagine. It requires spending less than you earn, investing consistently, avoiding unnecessary debt, thinking independently, remaining patient, continuing to learn, and perhaps most importantly, understanding that wealth is not a destination. It is a process built on thousands of decisions that seem small in the moment, but become powerful over time. The middle class does not fail because they lack intelligence or potential. They struggle because the world constantly encourages short-term thinking while wealth rewards long-term thinking. The world encourages consumption while wealth rewards ownership. The world encourages impatience while wealth rewards patience. Once you understand these differences, you begin to see money differently. And when you see money differently, you start making different decisions. Those decisions change habits. Those habits change outcomes. And eventually those outcomes can change an entire life.